Hey there, fellow scavengers, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Into the Dead, Our Darkest Days. Episode 2, Brushes with Death in a Zombie Apocalypse. A faint transmission. Lead discovered. It seems like someone is organizing an airlift out of the city. We should comb the city for radio sets and try to intercept their transmissions. A faint transmission unlocked in the escape plans menu. Undead's attack, so barricades are down to 3. And if we open tab and go to the escape plans, we have 1 lead of the strange markings and 1 lead of the faint transmission. Which lead for escaping should we prioritize? The network or airlift? Little pole above my head. And cheers. Alright, we did bring back some junk food. So I had Joe eat the junk food. Sebastian, my man, you are going to get cooking. We're going to make a meat stew and a vegetable stew. And then Diane, you are going to upgrade the barricades because we don't really want to get broken into by the zombies. So over here, we're going to use some of the planks of wood and spend the entire phase improving the barricades so that they hold. Meaning that Joe, you are all set to go out. Now Joe here, I don't have to send him out. I could have him stay home and like build the communal area. His morale is rather low, but I think we still need more materials. So what do we want to build next? I would say a workbench tier 2, which is going to use up all of our screws. So looting screws and wood is going to be important. And screws also are required for the communal area as well. And metal for the medical area. I would say screws are probably what we're grabbing most. Wasn't Diane bad at building? You're right, actually she was. Let's switch this up so that she is not building, she's cooking, and Sebastian is building. So in order to do that, we go to their, we cancel their actions and flip-flop them. So he'll barricade, and she'll cook supper. And then Joe, you're headed back out. And it looks like you guys want me to prioritize the network. I'm not necessarily going to seek out specific leads. We'll see what we get. So in this case, there are 2 potential shelters to move into, Shraider Street and Springwood Drive. Shraider Street is the safer of the 2, has way less threat. But Springwood Drive has more base materials and medical. Shraider Street has 2 beds. And then I'm likely to be leaving the area heading to the northeast for more loot possibility. Because if we return to somewhere like the container yard, there's barely any stuff there. There's like that one area that I hadn't looted that required bolt cutters. But essentially, we had picked over that area. So what I'm going to do in this case is loot the fire station, because I know that we're sweeping to the north and the east. Alright, in this case, I'm going to bring the meat cleaver that we've been using, and then one of the makeshift hammers that we just made, plus lockpicks. And Board Drake, thank you for the resub, by the way. I missed that. Now, if you duck behind a counter like I am now, that will also keep you from being seen from oncoming zombies. This building sounds like it is crawling, though. Nice. Finding some fasteners. That's what we needed. Fasteners and metal. And good old fuel. And getting a dismantling bench sooner or later is going to be pretty handy because, of course, Joe has a bonus to dismantling. So we should keep an eye out. We should upgrade our crafting station for the ability to start dismantling. Alright, the meat cleaver is pretty low durability, but it still has some swings left in it. The targets on the floor are hiding spots. So that if you're trying to hide from oncoming zombies, you can dip like that. Which protects you from the direction you're hiding in. So, like, this spot only protects me from right to left movers, not left to right. Fire axe. Seems like a very reasonable weapon. In the case of consumables, like beer or medical supplies, or coffee, you can consume it now. Things like food, you can't, necessarily. So, like, I could drink coffee to gain the state wired, which lowers my sleep needs. Or I could have drank the beer to gain the strategy of a coping mechanism. So in some cases, if your survivor needs like medical attention and you're running out of space but you have meds on you, it might make sense to, you know, use the medicine to free up inventory space. So there is the, like, a hiding target in use. Well, I basically four-locoed Joe here. He's now on beer and coffee. Let's see. I am gonna ditch my critical condition meat cleaver in lieu of the more fasteners. And there is a lot of the second story that I haven't yet cleared. Holding right mouse button will use your flashlight. Zombies are not light sensitive. They don't really care if you blast them in the face with a flashlight. Ooh, something to lockpick. Here's a very loud, very worthless weapon, a banjo. Vegetable soup. We don't really need vegetable soup because we're cooking it back home, but there's a lot of loot I just don't have room for. Yeah, this location is huge indeed. And Joe's just eat out in the field? No. It's not epic meal time out here with the zombies, unfortunately. And here's Frank. He's a good cook, he's a scrapper, and he has a bad back. Sorry, bud. I know how it's like, how it is having a bad back, but, you know, if someone dies, we'll open up a spot for you or Michelle. Well, for now, you have to chill there. Alright, now that I'm getting back closer to where the zombies are, I should stop making so much noise. Oh, hello. So I ran to go grab the fire axe. But from here, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch this zombie at the edge of my screen. Because he... Oh, here he comes. Excuse you. And if you wanted to see me just sort of like get aggressive with those zombies, I'll take that approach as well. If you're wondering what it's like to try to hack and slash your way through, it's like not really all that possible. But I will, I'll demonstrate that the educational way. The game very much wants you to take the stealthy approach, because if you don't, you damn near die. So that's me fighting two zombies, where now I am critical health. I'm going to use a bandage. I'm critical health on the brink of death. I just wanted to demonstrate how important it is to not go loud. So in the poll before the stream started, you guys voted that I use Sebastian because he's good with guns. So now you can probably make an educated guess what it's like firing a gun surrounded by zombies. It pisses them off bad. So just because you have a firearm does not mean you should necessarily use it. Not unless you have very little other choices. But going in blasting like you're Danny DeVito is a very bad survival strategy. Alright, let's get Broseph Joseph on out of this hellhole, because he does not have a lot of health left. He's, like I said, brink of death. We did happen to have a bandage, so his flesh wound is going to be cured. So here's the states wired. So cannot lose rest while this state is active. Coping strategy, cannot lose morale while the state is active. And flesh wound, healing items are less effective, but I've bandaged him up. And after the phase, his flesh wound will be cured, and then we'll be actually able to use a health kit on him that will be more effective. So we haven't fully looted this area, but I figured it was safest for me to double back and get back home. Use your bandage, maybe? Free up some space? I already used my bandage. You can't use two. They aren't stacking effects. So using another bandage, I, as you can see, already have my flesh wound treated, meaning I had two bandages in the stack. One was used, the other one I can drop, but I'm choosing not to. Would this place be looting once more? It depends on the goals of our community. Whether we want to be more completionist, loot, scavenging everything, or be uncovering clues to try to escape. So here's a situation where, like, I made noise, and obviously I can just, like, head back to the shelter, but, like, even a little bit of noise, all those background zombies, yeah, they'll come running. So, once again, going loud, not always the best strategy. Shinox, thank you for the resub. Alright, barricades are up. We got a whole lot of stuff, and we did produce some bottles and some meat stew. So Joe here, I'm going to leave behind doing base things, because he needs to lose his flesh wound recovering before I want to bother using a bandage. So we'll put him on workbench tier 2 duty. And then between Sebastian, eat some vegetable soup. Diane, eat some meat soup. We'll have Sebastian stay behind and make a makeshift hammer and a makeshift knife. So Diane can be deployed out. Alright, taking a look. We have Irving Drive, Shraider Street, and Springwood Drive. Springwood Drive has the most resources, so I'm going to choose to go there in Greenhaven. We'll take the semi-broken makeshift hammer, and then the pretty fresh fire axe with some picks. The one thing that's different about the potential shelter locations versus the other locations is the potential shelter locations will not have like background zombies that lurk, because there's not like an easy way to clear those background zombies that lurk. So all the zombies are going to be in the foreground so that we can easily kill them, which is kind of nice. It does mean that potential shelter locations are typically a little bit easier to clear as a result. I think it's also probably a good idea for me to demonstrate the thrown bottle. So next chance I get, I'll throw... Oh, hello. I almost never throw bottles. What is it again? There we go. Through the bottle. Oh, hello. Waiting on the steps for me? No thanks. And that's why I have the fire axe. So it's a good way to lure zombies if they're like standing in your path, but like I just lured her to me, which is obviously not the effect that I intended to have, but oh well, she died. Turn around, buddy. Are you ever gonna turn around? Because if I want to move into the shelter, you need to die. This is definitely one of the situations where, like, I can try to open the door and sneak away. But nope. Two of them. Oh, joy. And now I have bruised ribs. Are you dead? No, you are wiggling on the ground. Oops. Well, very close to dead now. Because she was, like, right in the doorway, I didn't know that there was a finish her moveset. Alright, so bruised ribs, if we take a look here, and survivors, treated with a bandage. Increased vulnerability to physical damage. Basically, I take more damage. Let's go ahead and drink our woes away, shall we? A little coping strategy there. And then... there. Ooh, healing kit. All right, let's use that. Because I don't have a flesh wound. And what will happen, gaining a state of healing, like I just did, is at the end of this phase, I will heal. Whoa. That was really not well done, but luckily I didn't take damage. That would have been fatal otherwise. Should have peeked through. Oh, I got another healing kit. Also got a shovel. I'm gonna switch the scales for the shovel. And there is some sort of like underground bunker down here. Pretty sexy. Doomsday Prepper. No one might assume that if I was trying to play, like, wisely, as hurt as I am, I would get out of dodge. But, I think it's more fun to not play so safe. Try to clear out the area. Alright, so we do have a zombie at the end of the hallway. I can wait for them to come back. I don't think it's safe to go up there. Something tells me that would be a bad idea. A nearly dead Diane with zombies on either side. It'd be like a big old no thanks. But there's always another way. Well, not always, but in this case, there's another way. Whoa. So she is patrolling back and forth, trying to time it so that she's not looking at me when I go up the ladder there is going to be pretty tricky. I don't think that's like a reasonable thing to attempt. So in the case of my current injuries, what I might end up doing is running back to the shelter and have someone else deal with it. But she's going to be pretty well healed by the end of this phase anyway. So maybe she'll be the one that returns. So, Joe lost Flesh Wound. He lost Wired, and Diane lost Healing. So having losing Healing means, as you can see, in her health pool, her health is much higher. So she's going to use a bandage to recover from those bruised ribs. And then she is by far the most tired. So I'm going to have her eat and go sleep. Rest off the bruised ribs that she got. And then it's between Joe, who's brink of death, and Sebastian. So I think it's safe to say that Joe stays at home. In terms of the weapons that we have, we got a few. So let's take a look. In order to get the weapon bench 2... Oh, let's actually have Joe make the dismantling station. That's a really good night task. And also the bolt cutters, because we did run into one bolt back at the container yard that we weren't able to open up. So I think that might be helpful. So Diane and Joe are assigned. So Sebastian is the only one not assigned yet. I'll have him eat a little bit. And we could, in this case, have him stay at the base and like make weapons or cook or whatever, but I'm gonna have him go out. I like to try to send people out every time. So let's go back to Springwood Drive and actually clear it out. So I'm gonna take a rake and the axe. What about the garden? You can assign people to the garden if food is your bottleneck. Things like gardens and water collectors are really good if you have a large population and you have a lot of people that you need to assign, but I don't have a lot of people, so it's kind of moot. We're able to easily scavenge enough to supply what we need. So as evident that the loot is persistent, you know, going over the places that have been before, it's not like I'm getting anything new. Right? All the zombies that were here are dead. All the places that I had looted have already been picked over. If we're intending to move in here, I don't necessarily need to, well, I'll just loot everything anyway. Alright, so knowing what Sebastian is walking into, I think it's probably best to have the fire axe at the ready. But I'll try to do this the sneaky way. Nope. Not so sneaky. Cut it out, lady. Okay. Potential shelter. All threats cleared. And vantage point for the fire station number 13. I don't think the other one could have survived that. Something tells me Diane would have died. All right, let's take a look. So Sebastian, you're a little hurt. I'm going to give you a healing kit. And then Joe, you are currently healing and will recover health next phase. So Joe should stay back again. In this case, I'm going to have Joe cook food. He's been the one eating it all. Looks like Sebastian's about half rested. So we'll have him head over to take some rest. And then, because I've already assigned them, I don't necessarily want to move to that new location just yet. What I'm going to do with Diane. So Diane right now is still recovering from bruised ribs. So instead of actually going out, what I could do is have her switch with Joe. And Joe used the dismantling station that he just built last phase. So, like, 1 clothes produces 8 fabric. 1 scale produces 3, 3, and 2. Fasteners, metal, and electronics. The video camera, fasteners, metal, and electronics. And then the wooden boxes produce 8 wood. So dismantling, as you can see, as I was saying before, is like incredible resource efficiency for backpack space. It does mean that you need manual labor to actually do the dismantling, but in the case of having Joe, who's really good at dismantling, this is a you know, an obvious good idea. And then with the remaining resources, if we want to get a better weapon bench, it looks like we need metal and electronics, which we happen to be dismantling for, and a better workbench is electronics, which we happen to be dismantling for. So what I could do in this case is maybe build the communal area so that people can recover their morale. Can I demonstrate the difference of Joe's ability and not having it? Sure, I'll do that right now. It'll just take me a minute to unqueue everything. So, clothes is like 1 to 8 ratio. With Joe, if it was with Diane, 1 to 6. Or 2, 1, 3. As you can see, Joe makes everything a lot more. He's so much better at it, it is ridiculous. So we did mention that we needed metal and fasteners. So I'm going to prioritize the scales and the wood for the resources we need most. And then you are going to make the communal area. So in this phase, we're not actually going out on deployment. We're just, you know, resting up at base, building things, dismantling things. Barricades are definitely going to need to be addressed. And I'm going to have Sebastian address the barricades. Diane needs to stay at, well, doesn't need to stay at home, but Diane's going to also stay at home so that she can recover from her bruised ribs, and we'll send Joe out. So Diane, let's go ahead and get the weapons bench tier 2, because we dismantled all the things we needed for that. Joe is still a little wounded, so I am going to have him use the last healing kit that we have. And we are low on food, but a lot of the being low on food is just that I haven't yet cooked it. So before we move into, I'm going to have you guys decide where we're going to move, what shelter to move to. So we could do Springwood, or we could do Shraider. But whatever you end up choosing, I'm going to loot Irving Drive this run. Actually, you know what? Let's double back and scavenge the Aunt May's truck stop that we started the run in. Because I'm most likely to leave that area. So there's the pole for where to move in next. Any idea what the unidentified pills could be? They could make us sick, or they could help us. It's a bit of a RNG. Destroy with Roy. Thank you for the resub. Ooh, more medkits. Good. Luckily, zombies can't see through glass doors. Otherwise, I'd be screwed. And then we've already spotted the scout location. It's right above my head on the second floor. So we would behoove us to work our way up there. Getting lots of food. Pre-cooked food, too, which is great. Oh, God. Hide. Good. Just got down in time. Uh-oh, that's not what I meant to do. Hang in there, Mr. Joe. And my inventory is already filled up. Let's see. Place looks a lot creepier now that we don't live in here. Okay, we got one more good swing out of this fire axe. All the vantage points around us have been discovered, which is really not surprising because we started out in this base. So that stands to reason that we would know everything around it. Ooh, 2 more swings with the axe. I thought it'd be done by now. Well, let's not be here while it comes back. We have to time the attack right so that it's walking away from us. So as you can see, it doesn't care about the light at all. Sakura, thank you for the resub. Bye-bye, buddy. Firearm parts. I mean, you did have me choose Sebastian, who's the firearm expert, so maybe I will make an attempt to collect firearm parts. Going loud! I am the Shovel Knight! Okay, all threats cleared. Means I don't need to be quiet anymore. And, let's get on out of here. It's amusing how the animation keeps up even though I didn't actually have a physical weapon. Yes. Yeah, I mean, this just came out of early access, so there are some... Oh, God, that hurt. There are some issues like that. Is what it is. I'm glad that that fall damage didn't end up killing me. that'd be sad. First death. Sprained ankle. I died. Alright, so Joe is tired and hungry. He is the most tired. So we'll give him a little bit of the food that he scavenged and then put him to sleep. Or offer him rest. Putting him to sleep sounds very different. Done. Sebastian worked on the barricades, and Diane, and both of them need food. So I think what I'm going to do is... Diane's morale is a lot higher, so she can stand a reason to go out and about. So I'm going to have Sebastian stay at home this time. But now that we have weapons bench tier 2, we do have the ability to repair pistols. So if I had a broken pistol and broken pistol parts, we could repair a pistol. So this is the repair mechanic I was talking about. And then the higher tiered weapons bench also allows you to make better weapons. So makeshift bats and makeshift tomahawks. Tomahawks are quieter, lower durability and damage, and bats are louder but tankier. How many weapons do we currently have? Let's figure that out before I bother making any new ones. And you guys want me to move to Shraider Street, so I'm going to do just that. I've got 5 weapons right now, so I'm probably good on weapons. So, Sebastian, instead of making weapons, let's have you make some food. And then Diane, you are going to go clear Shraider Street so we can move in. We'll take the shovel, the rake, and the knife, plus lockpicks. Current priority is to move shelters. Let's hope he's not a bad cook. Yeah, well, he's not, some people actually have, like, bad cook traits and good cook traits. He's neutral cook. Alright, it's barricaded, so I'm gonna have to go up. Are you gonna turn around? Yes. So I'm gonna have to time it. I don't have bottles to throw, so I'm gonna have to time it until just after it turns around to jump the windowsill. Was the other the bunker? Yes, the other location was the one with the bunker. What you'll find in the game is you move shelter locations often. As you are looking for clues about how to get out of the city, you are going to be asked to move around a lot. So getting attached to one specific base is not the way for long-term survival. Basically, you're going to be forced to move around, so you should get used to not having a favorite base as a result. Walton Taxi Depot found. And we want to move in here, which means I need to full clear it. One weapon down. Let's use the rake. The rake is only like a 2-attack weapon. Breaks pretty quick. And all threats cleared. That wasn't too hard. I don't think I have coffee in my shelter's inventory. So when we move in here, what I can do is I can leave the coffee and see if we end up getting coffee as a result of moving. To answer the question of, do you keep the resources or not? Oh, look at this. A packed car. With gasoline. And I don't believe we have gasoline. No, we have gasoline, right? But we can do the math so that I can answer that question. So let's see. We have no coffee. So if we end up getting coffee, we know that we grab the resources there. So instead of assigning anyone right now, we're going to move to Shraider Street. Move shelter. Yeah, we did have that nearly broken screwdriver I left behind before. So upon moving, here's the coffee, which means that we do end up gaining all the resources that we would have when moving into a base. So, answered that definitively. Thank you for tuning in to Into the Dead, Our Darkest Days, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow zombie apocalypse survivors.